fourth video, I'm not sure. As I was getting ready to open this up in Substance Painter, I realized there was one thing I forgot to do. Um, we've talked about how this can get, if we go up close, you can see that this is kind of, has a faceted look. All right, so we definitely want to go into Edge, and we select it all. Select all those edges, and we'll make sure we're in modeling and mesh display. I think it's mesh display, and we're going to hit, instead of harden edge, let's see what that happens. So harden edge is what it looked like before. You can see how hard those edges look, and we don't want that. We want to soften it, right? So I go down here and soften edge. You can see immediately what that looks like. All right, so it looks very smooth, and it looks really horrible in Maya, but once we get into Substance Painter, it looks really, really smooth. And this is why we did those extra lines here, because if we didn't, it would have been a lot looser, kind of like what's happening here in the middle. All right, so we're gonna rinse and repeat this, export selection, and what's this? We're gonna override it, and we're gonna export selection again, and we're gonna do OBJ, and I think it says OBJ, but I'm doing both for good luck. All right, so as that has gone through, and I'm glad I forgot that, and there's all these steps, and you just want to make sure you have a notebook and start to keep tabs on what's going on here. All right, so we're gonna hit close. We're gonna go ahead and hit new. And basically, it's just going to be a quick tutorial. We're just going to bake in some maps, and then we're going to stop. We may put some textures in, and then we'll start to learn how to layer things on. All right, so we're going to select our object. All right, and I'm going to do FBX and hit open. All right, so we want to go big with this. So our document resolution always comes in at 1024. But we're going to go to 4K. Now you do have the option to do 8K as you get closer. So as we start to see game engines like Unreal, 4K and 8K is a possibility. 4K is pretty big. So this is 4096 by 4096 pixels. All right. We're going to select our object. So we have it selected. I think everything else is normal. And we hit OK. All right. So now, once we're into Substance Painter, it's just like Maya with the Option key. And we can spin it around. And remember how we did the soft edge? So it's not so faceted, but you can see it. But from afar, it's pretty smooth. It's a lot better than if we didn't. If we had a hard edge, you would definitely see it. So you may look over your neighbor and, don't laugh at them too hard, but it definitely makes a big difference in the quality of this. And what we're doing is we're trying to reduce the polygons. So the polygons are very lightweight. What we did, we could bump it up, but again, we're trying to make it efficiency when we get into our game engines. All right, so you can see our textures here that are materials. Our textures are materials came through. All right, so you can see Sidecan, everything that we named came through, which is really great. So before we do anything, is first, we did our 4K, and then second, we're gonna go to this thing here. Now this could be shifted over here. I don't know what it's going to look like in the lab, so sometimes this stuff is all around the place. So you may have to look for the texture settings. And let me see if I can pull it out. And this is an attribute editor here. You see, oh no, actually that's Maya. So your list may have to go back to default. You can go up to the viewpoint. You can reset it to default. It may set it up like this. So just going to get used to this interface. All right, so we're in the texture set settings. And we're going to kind of scroll. We're going to get to learn how to use all this. It's in 4K. Again, when we go to export, we can go up to 8K. All right, so we're going to go all the way down here to the bottom to mesh maps, and we have to bake out our maps first, okay? It's going to bake out all these maps you see here, the normal to ID, occlusion, curvature, position, thickness, height, all this stuff is going to bake out for every one of these. So 3 times 8, whatever, 32 different maps, right? It's kind of crazy, but this is how your game engines work. And also even in renderings like Arnold or V-Ray or whatever you're using, all right? So we don't have to select anything. I think it's going to bake all. So we're going to hit bake mesh, return to painting, bake selected textures. I hope they're all selected. Let's see. All right, let's see if it does it all. All right, so you can see it going through all of them. I think it looks like it's doing all right, and it's doing the funnel too. All right, so you can see, I think it's done it all. Bake selected textures, so we're going to return both. So I think if we had these not selected, it probably would just have done the funnel. All right, so you can kind of scroll through. You can see our ID and our world spaces here. These are all our textures here if we scroll through. All right, so that's pretty exciting. We'll probably stop it there. Start working with layers here and start adding some metals to this in just a second. But really quickly before, we'll save it for sure into our folder. But if we scroll over here, we have our libraries of metals here. So you can start off with not plastic, but we can do a metal. And I can just show you really quickly, like, let's do something hopefully like that for this. So you can really quickly see that that metal is adding a sheen to it. It has a little puckering to it and some distortions. All right, so you can see how quickly we can just add on some textures to our oil drum. And then we're going to start adding a whole bunch of other stains, griminess, and then probably graffiti, maybe even spray on certain rust in certain areas and so forth. All right, so I'm going to stop it there. I think that is good enough for our first week if we get it everyone to this point. And hopefully this is just a 2 or 3 day project. And then we'll export this out and we'll all put it into Unreal. All right. And again, one last thing, we'll just show you how to save. I'm going into our oil drum, and we're going to call this substance. Okay, these files are heavy, and if you are on a laptop, this stuff is going to make your fan go crazy. So this is our oil underscore can. All right, all your files, whatever you've done, will save it. So you do want to do maybe iterative things with this, but not a lot because they are heavy. All right, so our next video, we'll probably finalize it. We'll start putting some metal textures on these so they're kind of different, and then we'll start adding some grunge and grime and some other textures like graffiti and stuff like that. All right, good luck.